are the Grandma Struckmeyer's parents and the great-grandfather. And then we'll go over to the Kellings, and then we'll come around and see the others. We have no flowers to put on the graves. That was always like a nice little ritual, but we don't have that. Now, I will point out tombstones of people who are related to our family. Like Arthur Rixman was brother to Uncle Paul Rixman, who was married to Aunt Alma. So this is Sylvia's uncle, an aunt. Okay? Okay, Otto Struckmeyer was first cousin to our parents, and he was the attendant in my parents' wedding. He stood up with my dad, and he was the barber. You people listen awfully well. Nobody says anything. They're completely bored or something. No, we're listening. Okay. Everybody helps on this. If you see something, that's Grandma. Parents of Bob, Betty, Uncle Albert, and Aunt Esther. So this one's been here a long time. 1944. He died way too young.
You were 8, Shirley?
No, I was 6. I was in first grade.
6.
Yeah, in the fall. This is the next one that came here, our baby sister. She was 7 months old. She had got sick Sunday afternoon, took her to the doctor, took her to the hospital. Very sad for the whole family. And my father died too young. 57, he was 59. I was 19. My mother lived too long. Just the opposite, you know. If we could choose, we wouldn't choose either one of those.
I remember the day in 1957 when the call came to our house in Collinsville to my dad that his brother Louis had died. And the grief and the tears were unbelievable. Yeah. It was an extremely hard time.
Yeah. And Donald Kelling came up for the funeral. And these two people are still living. And as Brenda said, when? On Wednesday? It was like, no, we were married. We were wed on September 10th, 1966.
I don't think I said that.
That must have been somebody else. Maybe it was Barb. One of you should have said that. Hannah was, you know, sort of in the middle. I think Uncle Albert was born in 1896, my dad, Louis, in 1898, Aunt Johanna in 1899. How would you like to have been Grandma Kelly? But she had older children, I'm sure. They all helped, yeah. And then,
That's part of the problem.
part of the problem.
Part of the problem, the older children, we heard a lot of this. The older children got a little bit tired of all these young ones getting babies coming in because they had to take care of them because Grandma was so busy making jelly and whatever.
Yeah. And then in 1901 is when Paul was born. And then 1903, Harry. No,
1905.
1905, and then Francis in 1906. So they were pretty.
Yeah, I think Paul was 03.
03? Okay. Okay. Oh, and right behind on this tombstone,
He was on one. He was on one. You were right.
Annie and Milton Hake had farmed in the area, renting property where Fred and Johanna Greiman moved when his father died, and they lived diagonally, renting that property. Good farmers, good members of the church, wonderful people. They finally were able to buy a farm at Carlisle, and they were thrilled. But then people started talking about Carlisle Lake, and it took their farm. So they moved into the house where my mother had moved in Hoyleton, the second house, you know, next to the one where she lived the last 27 years. Annie and Milton Hake bought that home because Azalea Rixman had owned that. So they were happy to find a house to buy. And then he became a carpenter because with his brother in Irvington, because he couldn't farm anymore. And then my mom, when they bought that house next door, my mom was living in it, but she went down to Canal Zone. Yeah, she'd rented it. She went down to the Canal Zone because Michelle de Bruin was born then in the Canal Zone. And while she was gone that week or two, Fred Greiman heard of a house for rent, and that's the second one from where the railroad track was. And he rented that house for her without talking to her or anything, and she was grateful because not many houses come up for rent or sale in Hoyleton. So she had a house to live in 2 years, and then the one came up for sale that she lived in for 27 years at the end, and she bought that. And that's the house that had been up for sale some years before, and she and my dad talked about buying that house to retire in.
Was the one she lived in?
The one she eventually moved into. She and my dad had mentioned it, and I don't know, I sort of thought.
Who lived in that house? Rixman's?
Oh, who originally lived in that house was Hake's, Clarence Hake's father, Frank Hake. He was our milk hauler. Okay, let's move on. Oh yeah, Alfred's right here. And he died too young also.
Shirley?
Yeah.
What's the relationship between, our grandma Boyer was a Hake? Do you know what the relationship is between her?
Maybe none, there are a lot of Hakes.
Oh, there are a lot of
Okay.
Hakes around here.
Ask your mother, she knows a lot more about that.
Okay.
Very much either.
Yeah, and Alfred, he died way too young too. Because he was how old?
55.
55. Yeah. And then Clifford, no, not buried here, no tombstone, but he died too young too, didn't he?
He was more advanced than Don. So Paul, right? Paul.
Where's the great? Thomas gonna leave the children.
Fred Greiman married again. So who, the oldest, the three daughters were?
I don't know, I went 5.
You gotta find older ones more.
Anna, Okay, this is grandparents of Lisa DeBruin. Okay? Ed Westermeyer was a teacher in a country school, and his daughter became the teacher, Hilda, when she was 19. She had been to junior college 1 year, and then she started teaching at Pleasant Hill School, and Ruth was in 4th grade there. The next year Ruth was in 5th grade, and I was in 1st grade. And I remember they had gone out to Arizona, I think, because Hilda said her mother didn't feel good and they were hoping she'd get better in Arizona. Well, look, she was only 50 when she died. Yeah. But Ed, he was 70. That's not that old either. Yeah. But then Lisa's mother, Hilda, was buried in Nashville at the Lutheran Cemetery.
Oh, that's where the Emma comes from, huh?
Okay, now we go way up here.
Where's the oldest gray? That white one? The white one? It looks old. Look at that. It's kind
I think these tombstones maybe were or over there. I don't know, were children in the children's home. I'm not sure. I don't know.
that one.
Okay. Friedrich Greiman, 1836, died 1901. In 1799, Christian Ludwig Greiman. Oh yeah, this other one, Anna.
Supposed to be the layout. It's not.
Anna Catherine Louise Charlotte Greiman, 1826 to 1897. Does anybody see this? Here's 1897.
1822,
Anna
1901.
Catherine Louise. This is it. Anna Catherine Louise Charlotte Greiman, 1826 to 1897. That's the parents. Let's see. This might be the tombstone for the grandmother of Grandma Kelly. Attention, please. I need help. I'm asking. This may be the name of Grandma Kelling's grandmother who came on the ship and died on the way over. Does that look right?
Grandfather died?
Grandmother died on the
died.
way.
Is that Mariana?
Something Charlotte. She died on the way over, and we don't know what she died from. And then the great-grandfather was Christian Ludwig Breiman, 1799 to 18 something, and it's cut off. You see his?
1875. 1875.
There it is, the song. Pardon?
It's 1875.
1875.
Christian Ludwig
Yeah,
Breiman.
got that.